We're all proud of this Bills team, but this is not how you do this. And if you're the governor of the state of New York, you're a steward of tax dollars for the people you're supposed to represent. And you can't allow yourself to get rolled like that. I mean, this was done voluntarily. This was done enthusiastically.
Sure. Governor Hochul recently announced that there's an $8.7 billion surplus in the state. Pretty large number. I'm wondering what you can tell me about, now she's announcing all these new plans and policies and finding ways to spend this money. Is it a good thing that we have a surplus? And if not, why did we get to this place, and how can we spend this responsibly but prevent this from happening in the future?
Fortunately, at times along the way, the people who are in power, regardless of party, put estimates of tax receipts of the next year.
Yeah.
Hoping that you're not going to end up with any shocking surprise where you don't have enough money to make it through the fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
That's a better way of doing budgeting than to be overly optimistic.
Yeah.
And that you're having some dream scenario of all the tax receipts that you'll have, and then can you make it through the fiscal year?
Yeah.
So that part's good. But the question is now, what do you do with the surplus?
Sure.
At the beginning of September, New York State businesses were hit with an unemployment insurance tax. Why? Because New York during the pandemic took out a multi-billion-dollar loan from the federal government for unemployment insurance. Now, what many other states did was, in the years that then followed, including when they were getting these bailouts from the federal government, is that they were paying down their balance. Not blue Democratic-run states like New York. Yeah. And instead of paying down the balance, as a government with this money that you're getting from the federal government, they spent it on whatever their political partisan priorities are.
Yeah.
And then they send this letter that was unexpected to these business owners. Hey, at the beginning of September, you're going to owe all this money.
Yeah.
They're proposing a new MTA payroll tax hike, but not proposing that the MTA operate more efficiently.
Right.
They have even more money getting put into Medicaid, which has just gotten way out of control here in the state. But where's Governor Hochul's demands, calls for important reforms to make sure it operates more efficiently? Totally MIA on this issue.
Yeah.
I don't even know if she is aware of how to propose a change
Sure.
to Medicaid, or the people around her. It's actually a real possibility that they just have absolutely no idea how to make Medicaid operate more efficiently, even though we could spend hours talking about the many different ways that the rest of us who pay attention to that stuff knows how to make it operate more efficiently. So while it's good always to have a surplus, you have to be responsible in what you do with it. And right now there's a lot of people in the legislature who only have experience signing one side of a check. There are people in the state legislature who keep running for re-election because that's the only job that they're qualified to have, which is pretty scary. And they're the ones deciding how to spend billions of dollars. And instead of thinking smartly with it, they have their own asks of how to blow through that money. And once that money is spent, it's wasted, it's gone.
Yeah. One big prominent example of a lot of taxpayer money being spent in the state was, of course, the Buffalo Bills Stadium, which Governor Hochul championed and brokered this deal, spending over $850 million of public money for the stadium. You came out against that. You said that she could have gotten a better deal for that. Why do you think that is, and why is it so important that we push these deals to be as responsible as possible?
I mean, here we are in the middle of Manhattan having this conversation, and the fact is that any person who right now is within a 4-mile radius around us would have been able to negotiate a better deal.
Okay.
And it's a reality that when a governor gets rolled, the state gets rolled. When a president of the United States gets rolled by some foreign adversary abroad, the whole country gets rolled. And in this case, she ended up getting rolled at the negotiating table.
Yeah.
Tactically, it was a mistake on so many different levels. She wasn't informing the state legislative leaders that, hey, in the 11th hour of this budget negotiation, I might be dropping this new deal. I want to make sure that you have a heads up. What questions do you have? Let's have a confidential briefing. I can answer questions. Instead, the whole thing comes out of nowhere. So that upsets a lot of people.
Yeah.
Then you have the dollar amount to it, which is unprecedented to be spending that level of money. The reality is we need to keep the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Much of New York has that as maybe their top priority. If you've been to the stadium where the Bills play, it is a stadium that you could tell from the outside before you even get inside. Like, wow, this is not what an NFL level stadium looks like, just with the construct of it and the aging. It has a Friday night light feel to it, of Texas, Florida, Texas football on a Friday night, and a great vibe inside. The energy is awesome. The Bills fans are loyal. The tailgating is part of a culture where they start, days prior sometimes. Yeah. So there's this need to keep the Bills there. However, that doesn't mean that you're giving the billionaire owner of this team a blank check.
Yeah.
So there's just so much bipartisan concern with how the whole thing happened on the tactics and the substance. And I'm fully confident that we pulled anyone random off of the street, even if they've been here in New York for just a couple minutes, they would have been able to get a better deal.
And to be clear, you're not just saying this because you're a Giants fan. Is that right?
Listen, it's regardless of whether you're and I'm a Giants fan.
Yes.
Which is one of the reasons why I had to root against the Eagles.
Yeah.
But that aside, and then the Bills fans would be like, oh, by the way, the Giants, where do they play? And, that's true. The Giants and Jets play in Jersey.
Yep.
It's something I would say, even if you're a Giants or Jets fan, as a proud New Yorker, we all see the need to protect this Bills team. We're all proud of this Bills team in a way, even if that's not your number one team.
Yep.
But this is not how you do this. And if you're the governor of the state of New York, you're a steward of tax dollars for the people you're supposed to represent. You can't allow yourself to get rolled like that. I mean, this was done voluntarily. This was done enthusiastically.
Sure.
She enthusiastically got rolled in this deal, which is maybe the biggest insult. It wasn't even that she didn't know what she was doing. By design, in many respects, she got rolled at the table.